Thanks, Mark. It was an unexpected surprise. Before I get into my remarks, I want to thank the committee co-chair, Chris Grice, all the committee chairpersons, and the entire committee for some fabulous work this year. I also want to thank NAILBA PAC outgoing chairperson, Barbara Crowley, our DC advocate, Alex Del Pizzo, and a special thanks to NAILBA staff, Mark Valentini, Michelle Liston, and the leadership they receive from Jack Chason. There's an African proverb that says, "Smooth seas do not make skillful sailors." We have just come through a big storm, and now the wind is going to blow in a completely different direction. The skills we have learned, we will need to improve because there is no calm water on the horizon. 2 years ago, this country went through an economic meltdown, followed by an election that sent President Obama to the White House and Democrats to the Congress with large majorities. All the apparatus of government was aligned for a major move to the left. Last year, in this annual update, we warned of a toxic atmosphere in Congress that could provide the atmosphere and opportunity for sweeping partisan policies to be enacted. That assessment turned out to be correct. In March of this year, the President signed into law the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act that will bring radical changes to the way medicine is practiced, delivered, and financed at a cost to the taxpayers that is simply unknown. In July, the Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act was signed into law. NAILBA helped engineer two significant victories in this legislation. First, the new Consumer Protection Agency, currently being organized by Elizabeth Warren, has no authority to regulate insurance products. This is a very big deal, as the powers of the entities created by this act are poorly defined and unclear. In addition, your NAILBA team, together with a massive membership turnout, was able to get legislative relief from SEC Rule 151A. This issue was a direct threat to wholesale brokerage that could easily have metastasized into something much worse. Fixed indexed annuities will be regulated as insurance products, not securities. We can put to rest the lunacy of the logic that somehow the size of the guaranteed gain in an annuity product is investment risk. There is much in the 2,000 or so pages in the financial services law that we simply don't understand. Most of the authority is vested in the regulators who are tasked to discern and implement the will of Congress. History teaches us that this kind of power in the hands of the bureaucrats will always result in a complication and an expansion of the rules. Unresolved issues we are tracking include a unified standard of care and the elimination of binding arbitration in the relationship between customers and broker-dealers. These could be realities in the near future with unforeseen consequences, so please stay tuned. 16 days ago, there was another election, and we're still counting the votes. The magnitude of the shift of the political wind can simply not be overstated. Counting Massachusetts, Scott Brown, the Republicans took 7 seats from the Democrats in the Senate without losing a single seat. The Republicans lost only 3 of the 198 House seats, while they took 65 from the Democrats. The current congressional score of changed party seats favors the Republicans 72-3. The intensity of this shift grows if you look at what happened down at the state level. Democrats took 3 governorships from the Republicans, but they lost 11. The Republicans did not lose a single one of the 32 state bodies that they control, and they took 680 state legislative seats from the Democrats, giving the Republicans control of 18 more bodies. So the total of congressional seats, Governors' mansions and state legislative bodies that change parties is Republicans 101, Democrats 6. The country made a major shift to the right. Now, we'll get out our crystal ball in a minute to see what this might mean for NAILBA, but first, the Democratic-controlled 111th Congress has some unfinished business. They began their work earlier this week with a lame duck session with an agenda that they will simply be unable to complete. High on the list is action on the current tax rate set to expire in 43 days. The Republican position is for an extension for all wage earners, and the Democrats favor extension only for the middle class. There are a number of possible outcomes, including no agreement at all. However, some compromise is likely. The most talked about position is a permanent extension for the middle class and 2-year extension for high wage earners. Absent from the discussion on income taxes is the estate tax issue. The outcome here is murky. We could see rates back to the 2009 levels folded into the income tax extension. It is equally possible we could see some other temporary fix, or we could have no agreement on estate taxes at all, which would expose 2011 transfers in excess of $1 million to a 55% rate. A stable estate tax picture that will allow for long-term planning will likely have to wait until at least next year. Other items on the year-end list include a continuing resolution so the country can write checks past December 3rd, the annual alternative minimum tax patch, and at least a temporary patch for a Medicare payment adjustment known as the doc fix. There are other issues and simply not enough time for everything to get resolved this year, so important issues will be carried over till January and the 112th Congress. Now, the projected Republican leadership of the 112th has announced plans to work for outright repeal of health care and to revisit financial services reform. With a sizable majority, they can get anything they want done in the House, but will all things Republican die in the Senate? The answer may not be as obvious as you think. There are 24 Democrats up for election in the Senate in 2012, and 14 of them are in states that are various shades of red. So it is conceivable for the Republicans to reach consensus in the Senate on some issues. The last 2 years have seen a massive shift in power in the increased scope and cost of the federal government. The next 2 will likely see tremendous pressure to reverse course and slash government at all levels. The economy and the deficit were major issues in this election. The voters have spoken with a loud voice. They are worried about the debt, and they want action from their representatives. The conversation about what balancing the budget might look like has already begun, with the preliminary report released last week by the co-chairs of the President's Debt Reduction Commission. That report included an option called the Zero Plan that would reduce tax rates and eliminate all tax expenditures. That would mean an elimination of the mortgage interest deduction, charitable deductions, deductions for medical insurance and retirement plans, and the tax treatment of inside buildup in life insurance and annuity products. Now, this is not the final report from the Commission, but the debate has begun. We have been put on notice. Our industry and our products will be on the table when there is a discussion about raising revenue. The 112th Congress will have over 100 new freshman members. There will be over 84 new Republicans in the House of Representatives alone. The House Financial Services Committee will have a new Republican chairman, replacing Representative Frank, along with at least 20 new members. Senate Banking will see Democrat Tim Johnson of South Dakota replace a retiring Chris Dodd. The sheer size of the freshman class, together with changes in leadership in committees key to our industry, represents a significant challenge. Consider again the numbers. 1 out of every 5 members of Congress will be brand new. 1/3 of the majority party in the House of Representatives has yet to cast a single vote on any piece of federal legislation. It follows that many in the 112th will be unfamiliar with the social good our products provide society. We will be just another industry with some tax-advantaged products. We have to carry our message to these new faces. NAILBA will work with AALU, ACLI, GAMA, and NAIFA to champion the industry message of the importance of providing affordable protection and security to families and businesses. But it will fall to NAILBA to educate this new Congress on issues of distribution. This is an all-hands-on-deck call. We need your help. 2011 is the year that you need to get off of the sidelines and into the game. This afternoon at 4 o'clock in Grapevine 2, there will be a roundtable discussion where your D.C. advocate Alex Del Pizzo, Government Affairs co-chair Chris Grice, and I will discuss these issues and other topics in greater detail. The format is designed for you to interact, so please consider attending. Thank you, and have a great NAILBA 29.